Adam was singing, and I hit record, and he stopped singing. Welcome back to Discover Progress, the podcast that used to be about Progress Wrestling, except this week we've got 2 episodes.
Yay!
Yay! Of course, our last episode was us discussing NXT TakeOver Toronto 2 and our thoughts on that. And right out of the gate, I'll say this. Watching NXT TV this week, I noticed some parts that we for sure were just like not accurate on.
Oh.
Like, I mean, there was the bit we were going back and forth with what the finish of the triple threat match was.
Yeah.
And then
boy, were we off.
So it was End of Heartache on Pete Dunne, Purple Rainmaker from Velveteen Dream onto Roddy.
And it bounced him so hard he couldn't even get back in the ring in time.
Well, he was in the ring. Like that was the funny thing is when you see the clip, I'm like, I feel like he was supposed to get further away. Yeah. Because he was like reaching and he was literally like one push of the foot and he could have broken that pin up. Anyway, the other one was we briefly discussed where you had said Adam Cole threw the chair at Johnny Gargano from the top of the ladder, but it was from inside the ring to out.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
No, I said Adam Cole threw the ladder onto Johnny Gargano from the top of the rope. Like he popped it up and then just whipped it at him.
I was thinking it was the chair spot.
No, the chair spot was great too, though. Just whipped it at him.
Because they didn't show the ladder throwing spot.
No, they didn't. But they did show the fire extinguisher. I was going to say fire hose spot.
Yeah, the fire extinguisher spot.
And then
the useless barbed wire spot.
Yeah, and then Johnny Gargano doing the literal dumbest move to the end. He dumped out a bag, and there was a lead pipe, a bunch of handcuffs, 2 brass knuckles, and some wire cutters.
And he went for the bolt cutters.
He took the bolt cutters,
barbed wire,
and climbed up and grabbed chopped off some barbed wire.
Yeah. Now, you made a point, like, when we were watching, you're like,
brass
it's funny.
Knuckles!
Yeah, but it's funny. You're like, it's funny because he didn't even, like, wrap the barbed wire or anything. No. To which I was just thinking about that. I was like, you wouldn't actually want to do that. That would hurt you just as much. Wrap it around your hand and hit it.
Well, you put it so the hooks are in, like, in between your fingers. So
that's still very risky. I think he was going for the old rake across the face.
Well, it looked to me like he was just planning on flicking him with it in the forehead.
Like a towel whip with barbed wire. Whatcha? Yeah, so, we'll get to talking about this week's NXT TV because we just finished watching it, and there was, it was obviously the pre-show of TakeOver Toronto. We'll also get to talking about NXT UK, but do you have a question?
I do.
Oh, okay. But first, before any of that, and some almost like not alarming news, surprising news, we'll get to that in a minute. But first, it's time for Adam's question of the day. Take it away.
NXT Toronto.
Yes, sir.
Happened on Saturday.
Yes, it did.
This was the second NXT Toronto.
Yes, it was.
Going back 3 years, 2016, NXT Toronto.
It was 3 years? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Johnny Gargano has been in NXT forever.
Accurate statement.
Well, I was going to say, hold on. Before you get into your question, I was going to say, my question is, who's been in NXT longer than Johnny Gargano? Literally, the North American champion has been there for quite some time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Not as long as Johnny, though.
Yeah,
Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, Velveteen Dream. Yeah.
Good old Patrick Clark.
Go on.
Who were the ring announcers? Sorry, these are the commentators.
Oh, I'm like, what? Who were the ring announcers? The guy who was told to no longer say one fall, the pause after the one fall, that guy? Okay, so commentators.
Yes.
I'm going to guess it was just a 2-man team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Tom and Corey.
Yeah, okay. He did it! Yay!
Yeah, that was...
That's kind of a lob.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Because some surprising news...
Austin Theory, officially NXT.
That's great. Yeah.
Not surprising.
Evolve champion.
Yeah.
Officially signed to NXT, I guess. WWE Performance Center.
Evolve is basically NXT's NXT.
Which of course we saw Austin Theory in Toronto.
Yep.
And then,
And then Walter and Tyler and Ricochet.
Which is funny because I don't...
And the King.
Oh, I do remember seeing Ricochet.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing any of the NXT UK guys until they showed them in like the opening like montage or whatever of this week's episode.
They were literally sitting on opposite, like there's the aisle going in between the seats off to the left.
Yeah.
that's where they were sitting.
That's funny.
They were sitting on opposite sides of the aisle. They shouldn't be sitting. You guys
don't sit beside each other, guys. Especially you, Walter, and you, Tyler Bates.
You're supposed to hate each other and then fight on the 31st.
But speaking of United Kingdom stuff, British wrestling, Jim Smallman announced that he's after, I was going to say episode 100, after chapter 100, which I believe is December 30th, he's done.
He's done.
That's going to be a crazy show, I feel.
Yes. But even more interestingly news, I didn't know this. He works for WWE.
Yeah, so that's the thing is he is part of like the NXT UK
I assume
team.
Writers.
I think he probably has his hand in a lot of things, but I guess someone pointed out that, I don't know if it was before TakeOver Toronto or after, Triple H had an availability, a media availability.
Yeah.
And he wasn't asked about Jim Smallman in any way, but during this availability, he had mentioned that he hasn't been to an NXT UK show in quite some time because he has a team on the ground that he trusts.
Right.
So I was like, Jim Smallman's a part of that team. Mm-hmm. And I thought, like, I was curious because I knew that NXT UK was working with Progress. Like, you know,
closely, yes.
Yeah, obviously a lot of that talent is coming from Progress Wrestling or through Progress Wrestling. Yeah. So I was aware of that. I didn't know if Smallman was involved in any way outside of like when the brand was first getting started. But yeah. So in a tweet, someone asked him if like he was leaving wrestling for good outside of being a fan, or if it was just Progress. And he said, NXT UK is my day job. I'm not quitting that. Yeah. So, which leads me to believe, I mean, he's working at NXT UK more than Progress anyway. I mean, Progress has a couple shows a month typically.
Occasionally, they'll do like a weekend of like 4 shows.
Yeah, they've started doing what they refer to as weekenders, where it'll be a Saturday and a Sunday. Yeah, and
like Prague on the Tyne and Chapter 92, because I don't remember.
Entertaining Friends.
Yes, Entertaining Friends.
I was going to say Cheer Up Friends. No, it's
Cheer Up Juice,
which we can talk about that as well.
Yes, we finished.
But but first, I was going to say with this, that's pretty crazy. I'm interested to see what they'll do with Smallman gone, because Chapter 93, Cheer Up Juice, Smallman wasn't there. Yes. And from what I understand, I think that's the first chapter he's missed since the beginning. So Eddie Dennis filled in. Admirably.
Very admirably.
So good. He was so good. Yeah. That made a joke that in it he says, you know, at the beginning, he's like, I promised that I was going to break Progress. So if you've ever watched, or if you've never watched Progress Wrestling, I should say, there's a lot of like, I mean, Jim Smallman, and I'm interested to see if they still do this, gets up in the ring, you know, before the show, he like spends time interacting with the crowd and asking people who, you know, if it's their first time, what they do, you know, like this whole like building a group, right? Like building a family sort of thing, which is really kind of neat. But there's all these sort of like call and response things. And so Eddie Dennis was like, I'm going to break Progress. Because instead of saying it's your round, which is what the crowd will chant when they ask who's first time
for new people, yeah,
so it's insinuating they got to buy drinks for everyone. He's like, I want you to chant "Welcome, friend," and so he just like does it anyway. He was great, but we were joking and saying after finding out about Smallman leaving, we're like, maybe Eddie Dennis did break Progress. So
completely, just wide open.
So we'll have to see what happens. Going forward with that, I'm intrigued.
It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, and if they'll keep like that similar vibe where it's, I mean, when you look at a lot of promotions, you know, you got a guy who gets in the ring wearing a suit, and it's very like professional, or at least attempting to be professional.
This match is scheduled for one fall.
Yeah, like trying to emulate like the big boys sort of deal, right? Whereas Progress is like this guy in a t-shirt and jeans and a backwards hat who's just like, I'm going to go. He's also a stand-up comedian. Yeah,
who just loves wrestling.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just going to get up there, make some jokes, talk with the fans and whatever, and then get to the next match and like has a good time. So I'll be interested to see if they continue that or if they go a more traditional route. I think they'll continue it. The question is, who will they replace them with? I wouldn't be surprised if for a bit if they do like kind of cycle through.
That's fair.
But
I imagine it probably won't be Eddie Dennis.
Well, here's the funny... Yeah, okay, so with Chapter 93, Cheer Up Juice, at the end of the whole show, Eddie, in the middle of the show, said, I've got a big announcement to make at the end of the show. So the end of the show rolls around, and he's talking about how he's injured. He tore a pectoral muscle and then healed from that and then tore his other pectoral muscle. And so he's like, rehab's going great. I will be back in the ring. And then he goes on to say, but I can't be back in the progress ring.
He said, this is the last time I will be in the progress ring.
Yeah, so basically saying, I've got this dream of being a WWE wrestler. I have to put that, front and center. He's like, they signed me when I tore my first pectoral muscle. Like, they signed me to a contract.
Yeah.
And then, I did some work and then got hurt. And so, I mean, good for him. I'm glad that he's not...
He's being smart about it.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to, retire or anything like that. I mean, will he never be in a progress ring again? I don't know so much about that. As a performer, sure.
Possibly. Yeah.
But I could see him, like, coming in and doing this at some point in time. Or
He was great.
Yeah. He's a great talker. He also filled in on commentary a couple chapters ago. It was just one match I think he came out for, but so yeah, that's intriguing. But it also makes me question because a few chapters ago, I think it might have been Prague on the Tyne, when the 198, so that's Flash Morgan Webster and Wild Boar, they came out. They had stolen the tag titles from Aussie Open. And we're basically like trying to demand a tag title match. And then the very next chapter they come out, they're like, and Flash Morgan Webster gives this speech about how he might not be able to wrestle again. So here, these are your guys's. And that was it. A couple weeks, shortly after that, because we looked up when that chapter happened, and I think it was like 2 weeks later, there was a TV taping for NXT UK, which he returned at.
And said, I'm clear to compete.
Yeah, so...
And then he wrestled a match with...
So that makes me wonder if it was like a similar situation but instead of giving that speech, where he's like, I just can't be here because I can't afford more injuries. I need to focus. Or if it's, more just storyline on progress and they'll make a big return at some point. I don't know. But because, now obviously he was wrestling on this week's NXT UK. So who knows? But yeah, briefly, Chapter 93, Cheer Up Juice. It was pretty good.
It was.
It had. It was funny because they right off the hop. Eddie Dennis is like, you'll notice there's no big star. Like we don't have our big name. There's no Walter.
Yeah.
There was
no Trent. No Tyler.
Trent,
no Pete.
No Pete. No Jordan Devlin.
No Devlin. No
David
Mark.
Starr.
No Dragunov.
Yeah. There's a bunch of names that weren't there, but the guys that were there,
they worked their butts off.
Yeah.
And they did great. And they are the future of British wrestling.
Sure. And
for sure.
Yeah, like the OJMO, Ojmo.
Yeah, Erie, or Shigiri. I mean,
Great
he's
match.
Japanese. That was an amazing match.
Yeah, hard-hitting match. I like Ojmo.
Ojmo's great.
I don't know if did you call him Ojmo?
I call him Ojmo.
I was like,
his
they
name
don't
is
OJMO, but and Lucky Kid. Who did Lucky Kid fight?
Robinson.
Did he fight Paul Robinson?
I thought no. Yeah, because he beat.
No, because Paul Robinson got a win because then he gave quite the speech because he fought. I mean, this isn't on demand progress yet, but he fought Walter in Toronto.
Yeah,
for the belt. So he did like this great kind of post match speech.
Paul Robinson defeats Lucky Kid.
Okay, so he did. Yeah. For some reason, I thought Lucky Kid got a win, but no, Lucky Kid comes out later and helps CCK. That's what it was.
CCK.
I was like, there was some moment where he was standing tall because CCK had a tag match,
and then CCK were all like,
"Do we team up?"
But
with
then
this
they
guy?
were friends. They decided to be friends.
Yeah. Also going on Chapter 93 is Spike Trevay has said he's now
loving Spike,
head of recruitment. You're loving Spike?
I am loving Spike.
Yeah, he says, I'm now officially head of recruitment for Do Not Resuscitate. Yeah. So he comes out later and he asks OJMO, do you want to join Do Not Resuscitate? And OJMO's, do I want to join Do Not Resuscitate? No!
And drops the mic and leaves.
I'm out.
I mean, maybe not the smartest idea, seeing as who Do Not Resuscitate is.
Yeah, well, it's funny with Do Not Resuscitate because, again, they stormed onto the scene like with that story. The formation of that group was like
they're new guys,
impactful. Well, they weren't necessarily new. Like William Ever and Chuck Mambo have been there
for forever.
But so yeah, they like storm on the scene. They're taking out these guys. You're like, whoa, this is crazy. Like they targeted. Well, it was Jimmy Havoc, Mark Andrews, Mark Haskins. Like it was like some names, right?
Yeah.
You're like, wow, okay, this is cool. And then that whole thing came to a culmination, and I think it
was a 4-on-4 with Eddie as well.
Well,
Mark, Jimmy,
no,
Mark. Mark and Eddie. Those four. Didn't it culminate in the 4-on-4
Did it start before
tag
Eddie
match?
was hurt, maybe?
Maybe.
Because Eddie definitely wasn't in it at the end.
Because he came and made a save, though.
He did at some point, yeah.
And
but
he and Mark hugged.
Sling. Yeah, he and Mark
No,
hugged.
they're friends.
But
not on NXT UK.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, and then it's just kind of like, okay, now they're this tag team that's sort of there. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if they recruit more guys and how that goes. But the main event of the show, I'm waiting for you to say it.
And soon
to
be recognized as the greatest tag team in wrestling anywhere.
Is that accurate to how it goes? I can't remember exactly.
The cadence was off a little bit.
Yeah, but Grizzled Young Veterans come out to take on Aussie Open, challenge them for of course, Grizzled Young Veterans NXT UK Tag Champs, challenging Progress Tag Champs Aussie Open, and
now we got a double champ.
Yeah, Grizzled Young Vets win. So the Tag Champs, and they pointed this out, and the Progress Champ are all dual champs of both NXT UK and Progress. So what we need now is Piper Niven and
Jordan
Grace and Tony Storm.
You're just all about Piper Niven.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure. Those two to fight and Tony Storm to win.
That'd be weird. Is it actually just the dissolution of Progress?
Yeah, just like slowly. That's why Jim's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
WWE says these guys have to win if we want to continue working. I'm out. Yeah. No, so it was a good show though. There were definitely some. Considering there wasn't, as they mentioned, all the star power that, like, Travis Banks was still there.
Yeah.
Even his match was one of the, like...
It was the first match.
Yeah, it was, like, one of the most blah matches on the card.
Yeah. They sew in a little bit of dissent within the South Pacific Power Trip.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes.
TK Cooper, I really enjoy TK Cooper. He was mugging for the camera in the first match. It was funny.
Probably like TK Cooper and Niwa more than Travis Banks, to be honest. Travis, I just find Travis and maybe it's because we've seen him and he just feels so one-dimensional to me. And there's still like that mystery a little bit behind TK Cooper and Niwa not knowing their whole thing. And they haven't had a whole lot of like Mike/story time.
They're his proteges.
Yeah, and so TK Cooper, he seems like when he gets like makes like off mic like comments to the camera as matches, he's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean. We'll see. But we were trying to figure out if in fact it dissolves, how does it fall apart? Are they turning Travis face, or is it because in the whole thing it seemed like I expected Travis to be the one to push first. Right. I thought he was going to be like, "You cost me that match," boom. But it's like Niwa who comes and pushes Travis.
He was just raging at Travis,
and TK gets in between them a little bit. And I forget
playing the peacemaker.
Yeah, I forget what happens in the last.
It's the same thing in the last one. Travis kind of. Well, I don't think Travis really costs them the match. Lucky Kid comes out and costs them the match for the most part.
Right.
But Niwa and Travis started getting in each other's faces, and then once again TK Cooper plays the peacemaker.
So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I prefer Travis as a heel.
He's a better heel.
Yeah, like because I don't know, I just like his style as a heel, and I don't buy NXT UK for the most part. For me, has tried to like build him as that like hard luck sort of guy, right? With the injury thing that they played forever.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, like let's get past this.
I like him because he's like he has an air of just ferocity around him.
Right,
like he almost feels feral. When he's coming out to the ring. And then his ring style is kind of the same. Yeah. I really wish he didn't do the Slice of Heaven. I hate that even the Beautiful Disaster Kick, the Slice of Heaven is kind of dumb.
Oh, yeah. It looks terrible. I don't know who told, whether it's Cody Rhodes or it's, Travis, but who told them that, this is a move that actually looks good. But it's, again, the problem with, like, rebound moves, right? When you're setting up the rebound. That's what I don't like. Like, if it's a thing where you get thrown into the corner for Slice of Heaven or thrown into the ropes for the Beautiful Disaster.
And you bounce off and kick them and then you win.
Yeah, much like, when Tyler Bate does his, like, shoulder rebound thing.
Yeah.
Right? When that happens, but when guys do it intentionally, like when, they got their opponent, like, stunned there and they're like, oh, I'm going to run into the ropes and do, like, a little swing around thing because it gives me momentum. Like, Ilya Dragunov does it. And it looked like shit this week on NXT UK. I was like, why did you do that? It was so dumb, but anyway, I can agree with you on that. I think it's not a very good looking move.
No,
but
it looks really soft because it's just like course, Kiwi Crusher's fine. It's a fisherman buster.
Yeah, but
pick him up and drop him on the head.
It is funny because he this week on this chapter or whatever, did he fight on NXT UK as well this week? Maybe it was on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Who did he fight? Did he fight Kenny Williams?
He did. He beat Kenny Williams.
No, so it was the Kenny Williams match where his like knee is clearly under his shoulder for the until the count of 2. He's like, oh, and moves it out of the way. So it's like the shoulders aren't even on the mat. But so Progress chapter 93, cheer up juice, good stuff. We got 7 more chapters of Jim Smallman remaining. So we'll see. I'm kind of intrigued to see where we go from there. I really like Jim Smallman though. Mm-hmm. But let's move on to, I guess we'll transition right into NXT UK and what went down this week, because I don't remember. We just watched it yesterday. But
Travis beat Kenny.
Yeah.
Dar came out and called them all dafties and stuff
that's right, on commentary.
It was great because it's Nigel and Vic. Vic stands up to shake Noam's hand, and Noam just kind of goes around him to shake Nigel's hand.
I love it.
It was great.
Perfect
bit of heel.
Yeah.
What else happened? We got
the main event this week. Of
the
course,
main event
was Cassius and Ilya Dragunov.
It was just a banger.
It was
right,
good
because I remember him being like, "That's all the matches."
Yeah, and Cassius, like, to jump right to the end. Again, we assume you've watched this if you're listening to this. If not, shut it off.
Go watch.
Jumping right to the end, Cassius wins. Which I was like, what?
Yeah.
Which I think is going to play into my hand in my favor a little bit.
Cassius versus Dragunov.
Yeah, when we went back, when they first announced NXT NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, we did a little episode called Takeover What If, and tried to predict the card.
I'm winning.
You are currently winning, yes, yes, by smartly assuming that one of the already announced matches wasn't going to be done with before Takeover. Because of course, Tony Storm and Kaylee Ray. But we both also picked Walter and Travis Banks to be at Takeover
because we thought for sure there was going to be quite the build on that.
Yeah, which I mean, it was done and out of the way.
We're getting a Walter versus someone whose initials are TB.
It's true,
but not Travis.
But they're supposed to be in the tag team match in my pick. So
same with mine.
It's interesting though because so as like one of the I was like, okay, we got 3 titles. There'll probably be 2 other non-title matches. So one of them that I threw in was Cassius against Ilya.
Yeah.
So it's like they'll want to showcase Ilya. Mm-hmm. Who do you put him in the ring with? Who's great at showcasing guys on takeovers?
Cassius.
So it looks like maybe they're done with that. Mark Andrews had 1 match with Cassius and it was done. Mm-hmm. When it looked like for a moment there
we were going to have a longer thing.
Yeah, but at least with this one, you kind of got the whole Cassius won, yes, but you could make the argument that it wasn't clean. Like, he grabbed the ref and, made a distraction.
Blocked him and then knocked him over and then elbowed him in the back of the head.
So, but who knows? We'll see. I'm hoping for that.
That was a good match.
I think it'll be a good takeover match. And then also we're one step closer to sort of not necessarily a match that I predicted.
2/3 of your match.
Yeah, but I'll say not necessarily the match I predicted, but the outcome that I think could possibly happen that I'm crossing my fingers for. Is that, and for a little bit there, especially thanks to Progress, it looked like, no, this won't happen, which of course is South Wales Subculture, so that's Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, being in a match for the tag titles, which I had originally said was going to be, I think, a fatal 4-way I listed.
With Mustache Mountain.
With Mustache Mountain, but not Gallus, it was Imperium.
Oh, right.
So that's where it's like, I'm only, obviously, Grizzled Young Vets.
Well, I had Gallus, Imperium, and Grizzled Young Vets.
Yeah,
and I had Mark and Joe.
Which I made fun of you for that because I'm like, it's all heels, Adam.
Yeah.
All heel teams.
That's the point.
And then initially, they're like, Gallus were the first to challenge. I'm like, but all heels? Is Adam going to be right with that? And then
that would be hilarious.
But my prediction is that they, Andrews and Webster win the belts. I mean, they're from Wales in Wales.
They win because
with
Eddie Dennis comes out and helps them.
Yeah, and also on top of that, they've shown some Eddie Dennis footage in the past couple weeks, making you go, oh, yeah, he's still here. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Who knows?
I think you get a big...
Or it could also be that Eddie Dennis comes out and costs them the belt.
I like the... I really do like your idea of he comes out, helps them win the belt, he's in the ring, raises their hand, and then he just, smashes them.
Right.
And then the next Wednesday, because that's when it airs, he's like... I didn't help you win the belt because I wanted you to win the belt. Because I wanted to break your hearts when I beat you for the belts.
Yeah. So it could be that. It's great.
That's really cool. I like that. That was.
But who knows who he would tag up with in that point?
Who cares? Cassius. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's not the point.
So we'll see. I think we're getting closer to that.
Oh,
it's possible. I mean, at least it looks like they'll be in the match, which is of importance.
And then the third match.
Because to get there, I think the first match on the show was Flash Morgan Webster against Mark Coffey. And so the stipulation right now is Flash has to win, and then next week Andrews has to win. So Flash won, so Andrews has to win next week.
I believe Andrews has to beat Wolfie.
Yeah, I'd assume that's what the plan is. I could also see it going because we're still
half and half splitting it.
I'll say we still have a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it could either be done next week and they're in, or it could be like they lose and then Johnny Saint's like that, like they lose by nefarious means, and Saint and what's his name?
Sid the Squid Scala.
Basically say, no, that's not cool, and either they redo the match or then it's just a straight up tag match. And if Flash and Andrews win, they're in, sort of deal.
And then they're in. The good old winning in.
Winning in! So it was a pretty good week.
But you forgot the other Takeover Cardiff match that was announced.
What was announced?
After the banger of a match that Dave Mastiff and Joe Coffey had, where they literally couldn't fight each other because Dave Mastiff punched Joe in the side of the head.
Yeah. And Joe
ruptured his eardrum.
Mastiff in the kidneys.
And bruised his kidney.
Yeah.
So a last man standing match, that's going to be a heavy hit match.
Yeah, it will.
For sure.
The thing that
lots of violence.
When that TV match happened,
I was actually initially excited for it.
Yeah, but it was like this weird thing where I'm like, it always feels weird when they play an angle like that where, all of a sudden in this match, for some reason, both guys have this like debilitating injury. It's like you feel like, okay, that should actually happen more often. Like when you take into account what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So when they do play that card, I'm like,
why did it take that long?
It feels a little weird, right?
Well, I don't think Mastiff has a pre-existing injury.
No, but
nor does Joe. Well,
but just like how the story of that match was, they both injured each other so bad they couldn't continue.
Yeah.
So it was just like this weird thing where I'm like, okay, like I like the idea, the story. It just felt so weird because like I said, they're literally supposed to be taking place in like hand to hand, high risk like combat, high impact combat. Like that should happen quite regularly, but it doesn't. So when they do actually go that route, you're like, oh, yeah, I guess.
Shit, this shit's real.
Right? So, that's right. I forgot that was announced. Last man standing.
Last man standing. So we got 3 of what we thought was 5.
Yeah, I assume it'll be 5. Because they haven't officially announced the tag title.
No.
But, we haven't officially announced Cassius and Ilya.
Or Piper and Rhea, which was another thing they were setting up.
Piper and Rhea, I feel, will be like if they...
It could be the pre-show, I guess.
If they do it the same way. I can't remember if on the first takeover, if they did it the same way that they do the regular NXT takeovers, like a pre-show is like next week's episodes. So if they do that, for sure, I can see that. We're getting there. A couple weeks away still.
Almost.
A couple weeks away.
Which also means it's a couple weeks away from...
All Out.
All Out.
Which I believe you'll be watching?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah?
It's Mr. Nick's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. Nick, that day?
On that day, yeah. So
well, there you go.
I'm not too sure what's going on.
I didn't get invited.
Technically, I didn't either. I'm just saying it's his birthday.
You're just assuming you'll be... I like it. I like it. Well...
I imagine he'll want to watch some sort of wrestling.
I do hope to watch both of those shows.
I mean, you can.
Yes, I can.
Because, surprise, surprise, Wales is about 7 hours ahead of us.
Roughly 7 hours. Yeah, I won't watch them on the same day, I think, though. No. I'll probably, maybe I'll watch TakeOver that night and then All Out.
Where?
I don't know.
Live! There's also UFC that night. I mean, there's UFC every Saturday night, so that's not really something you can really be like, oh, crap.
That's right. Every Saturday night, but every Wednesday night, we've got NXT.
Yeah.
So with this week's NXT, we could probably get through this pretty quick because it was mostly a recap of TakeOver Toronto.
With a really, 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 really good pre-promo for Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. Like, the takeaway from that the entire show...
Well, wait. The pre-promo or the Descent into Darkness?
The Descent into Darkness promo. The post-promo, sorry.
Right, yeah. It was like this music video mashup thing with this crazy-ass song.
But, Poppy.
Yeah,
Scary Mask.
Poppy featuring Fever 333 was... And it was just crazy. But it did like this stuff. I was like watching it. I was like, man, I'm curious to know, is Io Shirai going to be, because they made it look dark.
Yeah.
Right? Like she was going to take on this dark persona. So is it just going to be like that she comes out wearing black? And like so far that was my assumption from like the new music and the entrance video and stuff. I was like, okay, it's black, she's a heel. But is she actually going to take on like that sort of like dark something?
Yeah.
I said I want her to start coming out with a mask again, make the mask less colorful, more scary looking. Yeah. Not like, you know, Bray Wyatt Fiend mask.
I mean, the mask is already scary looking to me.
Yeah, you could just change the color scheme on it.
Those teeth on that
and
panda, koala,
whatever it is.
Thing, bear.
Yeah. It'd be cool. It'd be cool. So, yeah, that video was great. But we had 2 matches on the card. One was, of course, Breezango.
Yeah.
Defeating Forgotten Sons.
Spoilers.
He did not come out as Johnny Curtis.
He did not.
It's a little sad.
A little sad.
I'd be interested to see, though, if this story continues or if that's it.
I think it should.
I would like to see a 6-man thing, and then just, even if it's just like a TV match, you pull in someone who's not being used on the main roster. That's an NXT OG.
Yeah.
You know, like you could do an EC3, you could do a Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, any of those guys.
Michael McGillicuddy, Tyson Kidd.
But if he didn't come back, if he didn't come back as Johnny Curtis, he's not going to come back as Michael McGillicuddy.
No, that's true.
So
Jason Jordan, no.
Stop it. Stop it. You know who it'll... No, he's not an OG. So you know who it'll be? Samoa Joe.
Richie Steamboat. Oh.
Richie, stop it. Flipping Cassius. No. But yeah, that match was actually pretty decent. The crowd got into it.
The crowd was really... Well, it's because it's Breezango.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the Fashion Police.
I want to see Breezango. If this is the end of that particular story, I want to see Breezango stick around for a little bit in NXT and actually get a title shot.
I agree.
I don't know that they need to win. I would like to see them actually win at some point.
That would be hilarious.
Like, when they had their story on SmackDown, I forget who they were challenging, but when they won a title shot.
I think it was the Usos, wasn't it?
It might have been the Usos. Yeah, probably. It was around that time where Usos and New Day were going back and forth. Yeah. I think it was Usos, though. I think you're right. Because Usos were technically heels at the time, I believe. Yeah. But yeah, and I think there was even a match where they each had to win, and they both pinned the Usos, and it was like a time limit they had to do it. It was something crazy. There's all these odds stacked against them, and they pulled it off. And then, of course, they lost that match. I'm like, okay, fine.
But everybody, and there were so many hope spots.
Oh, they got so... I mean, that was at the height of Fashion Police stuff, right? Like, they were so over in... Like, with Fashion Police in, like, a non-wrestling way. Mm-hmm. Just doing great work. Like, that made me really like Fandango. Because, like, when I first started watching, I was like, who is this guy? Right? I'm like, I can't get into this, like, disco, not disco.
Tango.
But tango dancing guy.
A competitive dancer and a fashion model. Yeah. Wrestling.
Yeah, I was like, But no, because he wasn't teamed up yet.
No.
So once that formation happened, because that happened at the whole time, like, R-Truth, I think, was looking for a tag partner is what happened. And then Golden Truth ended up becoming a thing, and then with Goldust. Yeah. So you had these two just, essentially, jobber tag teams. And out of that, though, Breezango is still going. And they're still over. Yeah. So I think it would be great if they got something. And, I mean, to his credit, Morrow, at the end of the match, said, there might be, some new blood in the tag title picture or whatever.
Yeah, for title contention.
Yeah, so, I mean, Street Profits, that'd be a fun match. Fans would be into it.
Interestingly, about the tag titles and stuff, I didn't notice it during the match, but apparently Bobby Fish was actually the legal man.
Oh, yeah, they pointed that out.
So Kyle O'Reilly got pinned.
Yeah.
Kyle O'Reilly shouldn't have been counted.
So how the match ended is O'Reilly got thrown into the ropes and he ran into Bobby Fish, and it just looked initially like he knocked him off the apron. Yeah. But then when they showed this replay
and slowed it down,
you can actually see he's holding the rope while he's smacking this. But they also showed the other angle where you can see he's holding the tag rope.
Yeah.
So had he smacked him and he wasn't holding the tag rope,
it wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered. Yeah. But I was like, that's a fine piece of work.
As so subtle
and creative, as opposed to the obvious, oh, that wasn't the legal man, or his shoulder was up, or whatever.
Yeah,
it's okay, I can get behind that, which makes me think though that Era's going to get them belts.
It's not over.
They're going to get them belts.
They're going to be draped, just dripping
in gold. Mold. Oh, gold. Right. But yeah, that match. That match was. What I was going to say when you went off on that was the fact that I felt like this sort of recap episode was one of the better ones. Usually I feel like I just want to skip through this. We just saw this. I don't need to be reinforced.
But we actually watched the entire thing.
We watched the entire thing.
We skipped through the Slipknot thing.
Oh yeah, the Slipknot thing, and then like commercials, or like the network promos. But yeah, well, and on top of that, like we got that, which I was like, oh, didn't see that coming. We got the Io Shirai bit, which was awesome.
Pete Dunne saying it's not over, Gadget.
Did he
next
say
time,
that?
well, he didn't say it's not over, but I'm paraphrasing. Next time, Gadget. Next time.
And then who said? Oh, Johnny Gargano in the main event dropped a Mamma Mia that I did not pick up on the show, and then they focused on it. But and the main event on this week's NXT TV was the finals, of which you can now say of the Breakout Tournament, which I do believe I said before we made the picks for the Breakout Tournament. I said one of us usually actually picks the winner.
Yes.
So it should have known as soon as Joaquin Wilde was out in the first. Did I pick to win? No, did I pick him to win the whole thing?
You
Joaquin
did.
Wild? Yeah. So as soon as he was out, it's like I should have known. You're going to get it.
I got it.
And he did. So Jordan Miles went over Cameron Grimes in a pretty good match. It was interesting to watch because we pointed out as they came out there was no reaction for Cameron Grimes. There was a little bit of a reaction there was no reaction for Jordan Miles. There was a little bit of a reaction for Cameron Grimes. And you were saying, did you say he was in Impact?
Yeah, I believe as Trevor Lee used to be an Impact wrestler.
Because if that's I wasn't watching then, but if that is in fact true, something that could stand out that could help him in that sense, why he got a reaction would be because Impact is in Ontario quite often.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if
people are like, oh, we know that guy.
Yeah, if that helped, right? Like, oh, I know this guy's face. Yeah, there you go. Total Nonstop Action, Impact Wrestling, 2015 to 2019.
Yeah. So he went from Impact to NXT.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some people who maybe hadn't been watching NXT.
Yeah.
That recognized him because they'd gone to some Impact shows or whatever, right?
Because if you're a wrestling fan, you're starving for wrestling. You go where there's wrestling.
Right. And Impact seems to, a couple of times that I've actually watched, they just finished up some tapings that they'd done in, I think it was Windsor, Ontario. So I know and there was tapings I watched a while ago, this is now probably 2 years ago. It's been a while since I watched, but and they were in Ontario. I was like, oh, look at that.
That's cool.
But yeah, so Jordan Miles wins. It was a pretty good match. There was
with the Midnight Star.
What I was getting at was the little not a ton of reaction for them coming out, but as the match went on, fans kind of got invested more so.
There's a couple cool spots. I really liked when Grimes went to throw Lee into the corner, slide him through the post, and he caught his foot, so it stopped
on the bottom
him. And he just looks at Grimes and wags his finger at him. Yeah. So good.
Because this is my problem with Jordan Miles. I really there were a couple a couple guys in the tournament that I was like, you don't. There's not enough going on.
Garza stood out.
Yeah, Garza
Shaw stood out.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Loomis stood out.
Whatever his name is.
You really like Shane.
Yeah, but Shane, I like Shane as a performer, and he's obviously
and
gone
he had
on.
an amazing match with Drew Gulak on 205 Live. So I really liked Reed.
Yep.
And his jazz hands when he did the splash.
So Boa and Jordan Miles, I just felt Boa he didn't really get an opportunity to.
Yeah, he didn't really get to shine. But he's been in NXT for a while.
But Jordan Miles, I was just like, okay, he's just way too babyface.
Yeah.
Way too babyface.
It's really interesting because I was watching Hot Ones, the chicken wing thing where it's a good show on YouTube. You should watch it.
I've seen it.
He did it with Steve Austin as the season finale for season 9. I believe it's already 9 seasons. And he was talking about how he was just telling some stories, and he was talking about how The Rock, when he first started, he was just this super baby face, and people were chanting "Die Rocky, die" and stuff. It's that's kind of what Jordan Miles reminds me of. Yeah. Not the booing part, but just that character where he's just he's so happy to be around.
To be here.
He is such a nice guy.
When has that
ever
actually worked? I'm trying to think of a case.
Bailey.
Yeah, and I guess is she just so happy to be there, or she just hugging? She is pretty smiley for sure. But as I say, Hot Ones, I think the only episode I've watched with a wrestler was with Chris Jericho. I was just amazed at how much he spits.
He was just spitting into that bucket.
He's like, it's so hot. And you just lean over and spit. It's kind of funny. But
the Sasha Banks one is pretty good too.
Well, maybe I watched that one. I know that one's come across my YouTube.
She can eat hot wings like a champ.
Nice. But yeah, so NXT this week actually was surprising. I don't typically look forward to these episodes because I'm like, okay.
The only reason I look forward to it because I wanted to see the breakout finals.
Yeah. Yeah, usually you're like, okay, there's probably going to be one actually really decent match on here. Both matches I thought were good.
The promo packages were a cut above.
Yeah, and then like giving like some of that sort of like unseen not behind the scenes, because they'll have the interviews too, like Shayna Baszler.
Shayna's exit interview was great.
Just walked away. Yeah, I actually didn't want her to say anything. I wanted the question to be asked, and because she was still like she was in discomfort, I wanted her to just look at the title and then walk away.
She just kind of patted the title and was like, and still, and then just left poor Charlie.
Yeah, but
standing there.
We didn't get it. I don't think we got an interview with Street Profits.
Nope.
Or Adam Cole.
Nope.
Huh. Interesting.
Or Johnny.
Well, yeah.
Or Roddy. Or Dream.
Oh, we got Pete Dunne.
And we got Pete.
Yeah, so we did get something from that
Fish
match.
and O'Reilly.
That's right. Oh, yeah, so I guess we didn't get something from Street Profits.
Because they were mad because what kind of shoddy officiating is this?
Yeah. Which is...
You can't pin the non-legal man to win.
Which is funny because it was on Progress. Chapter 93, the Grizzled Young Veterans were talking about how the Progress refs, like... You don't even need to make tags and all this. So I was like, I feel like we just went over something like this, and it was so that's funny. But so again, this week pretty good. Chapter 93 pretty good. I'm assuming Chapter 94 is coming out sometime shortly here because I think it was.
Should be. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if it's a chapter show done in Toronto or if it's a separate show done in Toronto.
I think Smash versus Progress is a separate.
Well, that's
show.
one show. They did that, but then there's another show. Right? Like there's Smash versus Progress, and then there's Progress Toronto. But I don't know if it'll be a chapter show or not. But so that should be. I'm looking forward to watching that, though. I'm interested to see the Canadian crowd with Progress Wrestling. You know,
that would be interesting. Yeah. Chapter 94: Physician Heal Thyself. 25/08/2019. Camden, Greater London, England, UK, in the Electric Ballroom. Yeah.
So that happens. So I'm hoping, we should get Progress Toronto soon, though.
2 matches booked for it.
Yeah. So anyway, there we go. There should be at least Progress Toronto coming out, I'd assume. Yeah. And I don't know if Smash versus Progress will be up or not, like how they do that.
Yeah, I feel like it should.
I mean, both Smash and Progress are on-demand Progress, but I don't know. I haven't seen any other shows like that.
The Prog affiliates.
Yeah, they may do like
highlights.
Smash may have like over their like weekly show feature some of the matches. I don't know. But anyway,
we haven't done any of the housekeeping.
No, but I was going to say one last piece of news and noteworthy stuff, and you showed this to me. AEW, latest signing.
Yes. The best wrestler in the world.
Really?
My favorite guy. David Starr's favorite wrestler.
The guy who took over your YouTube feed by watching one friggin' match.
Your YouTube feed.
Yeah.
I got one match. That was it.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy.
AEW is now serving freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy as the promo.
That's great. But yes,
showed.
The reason that popped into mind is because he just did some Smash stuff. He's on the latest episodes of Smash TV. But anyway, what I wanted to say, before we get out of here, that housekeeping stuff that we did not do at the beginning, you can find us where you find podcasts. You can also find us at allwrestling.com, on YouTube. We're just places where places go. I don't know what that means. You can also find us on our social media at Disc Progress on both Twitter and Instagram. Twitter would be The David Show. That is I. Instagram would be The Adam Show. That is
me.
Yeah, there you go.
I did it.
He did it. So there you go. Follow us wherever you're on them social medias.
Or follow us on both.
Follow us on both. Get on both social medias if you're not there.
Come on, guys.
We're not on Facebook, though, or anything like that.
Nobody's on Facebook.
Yeah, except my mom. So anyways, that is going to do it. So bye-bye.
Bye.